Linkclick characters are separated by groups in the Dream Out music project, right? I thought they were competing by group or they were competing within the group. But since each performance is called as a stage, then it might mean that they're actually phases which parallel the events in Season 3, Part 1. Linkclick's creator, Lihaolin, has revealed that the music projects allow the audience to see the different sides of the characters from another perspective through various combinations and worldviews. Some character traits, relationships, and conflicts are actually already prevalent in the original story, but the music projects enable the production team to amplify and showcase them. So, for example, the Britain arc had made it very obvious to us that Zheng Xiaoshi and Xia Fei treat each other as bros, right? But they didn't have that much opportunity to hang out with each other in the series. But in the Dream Out project, we get to see more of their brotherly bond in their collaboration. We also get to witness how nice and supportive they are towards each other. They're so close and wholesome. Even Jaylee finds them cute. Seriously, the brightness and the liveliness of these sunshines could be a little blinding. So in other words, I think what Lihaoling meant was that the music projects are somewhat canon, but canon in a sense that the characters are in character. So whatever is happening in these worlds have no direct connection to the main story, but how the characters think and act in these alternate universes are aligned to what's in canon. If I'm not mistaken, the multiple universes in Dream Out are all based on Inplik Neem's story ideas, but the clothing designs are definitely by her. Anyway, in the main Dream Out world, the characters are treated as celebrities, then their performances would consist of at least two worlds, one of them being reality and another of fantasy, or a blend of both. But all of the performances have a common theme, which is related to freedom. It could be freedom from literal imprisonment, but it could also refer to other things like letting emotions free. Yeah, they're letting it go. Anyway, even if the stories in Dream Out have no direct connection to what's in the main story, I think they are parallels or mirrors or previews to the main events in Season 3 Part 1. And the stage number is because of the sequence. So it begins with Stage 1. The first stage, which is the Escape Velocity music video or MV, features an alternate world wherein Zheng Xiaoshi is a professional F1 racer while Xia Fei is his racing engineer. At first, I thought that racing engineers are mechanics, but apparently they're more like analysts and strategists that communicate between the mechanics and the racer. It might be a strange profession for a model like Xia Fei, but we know that even in the main story, Xia Fei is officially a nerd, and his college course, Applied Physics, would actually make him qualified on such a profession. Zheng Xiaoshi was able to practice his profession in this MV as well. Remember this scene in a special Britain art clip where he said that he will be able to take a good picture of Xia Fei too? Well, he had proven that with this beautiful close-up scene of Xia Fei in this music video. Yep, it was Zheng Xiaoshi who filmed it. He said so himself, and Xia Fei is very thankful for it. Anyway, the Sunshines work in great harmony and they're also very skilled in what they do. So it's no wonder that their team, which is actually also named as Escape Velocity, became victorious. In case you haven't noticed, the bouquet they're holding actually contain their official flowers. These are daisies and sunflowers representing Zheng Xiaoshi and Xia Fei respectively. But this racing world is actually just a creation of Xia Fei's imagination. Apparently, the real him is a test subject that is imprisoned in some laboratory. He has no choice but to zone out in that cold prison as his foot is even shackled to keep him restrained. And it seems like he wasn't simply imprisoned. Notice the dextrose attached to him? It's either his blood is being taken or there's something being transfused into him. The most likely it's the former. There are even bruises on his arm. The poor darling. And about his other hand, at first it looked like he was wearing a white glove. It was the same in this promo video, but the fans have noticed that it was later changed into something that seems more metallic. So perhaps he has a mechanical hand? I'm curious on why they bothered with this detail. Could it have something to do with his powers? Anyway, what prisoner Xiafei didn't expect was that the F1 race universe he thought was a fictional world was actually real. Interestingly, the racer Tung Xiaoshi from that universe even thinks the same, but upon finding out that prisoner Xiafei is in trouble, he goes to the lab in order to rescue Xiafei. Apparently, Tung Xiaoshi even used his race car to crash into the laboratory. Then he beat up some scientists along the way and escaped with Xiafei. In case you haven't noticed, Tung Xiaoshi's eyes in prisoner Xiafei's world are in yellow, same color as when his powers are activated in canon. So this implies that even racer Tung Xiaoshi is using powers to rescue prisoner Xiafei. So overall, I believe that the main event in Escape Velocity is about Tung Xiaoshi escaping with Xiafei. And I think this will be the first main event in Season 3 Part 1. The end of the Britain arc has revealed about Xiafei missing, and Lu Guang is the first to find out. Whether Lu Guang himself tells this to Tung Xiaoshi or Tung Xiaoshi finds out in another way, the fact remains that these two will be trying to rescue Xiafei. However, the trailers have hinted about Lu Guang telling Tung Xiaoshi to dive out, but Tung Xiaoshi is reluctant because he's worried about leaving Xiafei behind. With that, it will be safe to assume that Tung Xiaoshi has dived into the past to rescue Xiafei. This parallels racer Tung Xiaoshi with yellow eyes on a mission with prisoner Xiafei as his target. Whether Xiafei was kidnapped or just went with the criminals voluntarily, he still must have felt imprisoned and even restrained in that place. It is unclear whether Xiafei was also being treated as some experimental subject in canon. His bruises reminded me of baby Kwang's injuries. Aww. Anyway, Tung Xiaoshi most likely possessed Xiafei during the dive. After all, Xiafei was suddenly a fighter, and there was a scene of Xiafei about to clap his hands. I've also noticed in the MV that whenever Tung Xiaoshi is physically near Xiafei, his eyes turn back to normal. And more importantly, with Escape Velocity's ending, it should mean that Tung Xiaoshi and Xiafei were able to escape safely. The later trailers have thankfully confirmed that somehow. However, Dreamout Tung Xiaoshi has specified that he was on a solo mission. Take note, solo mission. And this is strange because he was definitely working together with Lu Guang in the trailer, right? Well, he might mean solo in a sense that he was the one who was physically present to rescue Xiafei. Or he might have lost contact with Lu Guang sometime later. Oh no, I'm worried if this implies that Tung Xiaoshi might have gotten stuck in the past. Wait, could this field near the hideout be in Myanmar, Laos? Oh, I hope I'm wrong. This is what I wish would happen somehow in canon. Xiafei daydreaming about Tung Xiaoshi while in prison. You know, like he wondered about what his life would be if he met Tung Xiaoshi earlier. Aww. Anyway, let's now relate Season 3 to the boys' virtue assignments. Diligence, which is assigned to Tung Xiaoshi, is defined as the quality of working carefully, persistently, and focused effort. This may be a weird trait to be associated to the puppy because he appears to be the type who likes to fool around. But we know that he's also the type who never gives up on the job, right? Moreover, since diligence is derived from a Latin word which means to love, This virtue is not merely about hard work, but it's an act of lovingly carrying out responsibilities with deep care, attentiveness, and a desire to please. So in other words, he's not going to save you because he has to, but it's because he loves you enough to do so. Oh, no wonder he's got a savior complex. Xiafei, on the other hand, is assigned with the virtue of temperance. Temperance could be defined as the practice of voluntary moderation, self-control, and self-restraint. With Xiafei's hot-temperedness, this virtue may be strange to be associated to him too. However, he had showcased multiple times how he limits himself, from the times he could eat and the other disciplines necessary to a working student. His racing engineer persona fits that virtue too, as he will be the one who is responsible in ensuring that the car's engine won't go out of control. But I think his prisoner persona is a bit disturbing. Well, temperance is literally defined as self-restraint after all. If we assume that Xiafei is keeping some dark secret that only Liu Xiao and Jack know about, then there might be a side of him that he's keeping in control. Well, apparently, temperance is also a type of discipline or principle in philosophy and religion, but I find its symbolism in tarot most interesting. You see, it says that it symbolizes balance, patience, harmony, and the blending of opposing forces. Is this why Xiafei is friendly with the heroes despite being officially part of the villain squad? Oh, please be true, because I don't want the Sunshines to ever hurt each other. I've got another interpretation of Xiafei's temperance virtue. What if it's only a virtue at the beginning? I mean, Xiafei might be assigned with a virtue at the beginning, but he will be assigned with a sin later. And when that happens, Dark Xiafei is going to make his debut. Oh no! Oh, let's forget about that for now. So after Zhong Xiaoshi's adventure, it looks like Xiaoling's child scolding is going to be next. At the time this video was released, the Web of Lies original music video is no longer available because of controversy. Well, I've heard that apparently the local fans complained about some illustrations in that video because the artist who drew them had done fan art of a series that is banned in mainland China. So the production team had to take it down and will re-upload the music video with new illustrations in the future. Since the affected illustrations of the original video will not be considered as official anymore, I decided not to include them in this video either. I know that people outside China will find it very strange to strongly oppose to an artist because they are a fan of that series. But if you know the history behind it, you'll somehow understand why. You can find the details if you research about it. So back to the second stage of Web of Lies, Xiaoling was pulled into the game world by Li Tianxi. Inside the game was a maze created by the twins. Xiaoling was being chased in the maze, and I'm confused about who this character is. It would make sense if this is Li Tianzhen, but the hair color doesn't look like pink to me. Actually, it looks more similar to Xiafei, but it doesn't make sense. Would Xiafei also be spying on her, like what he did to Shiguang? So he has to complete the trio. Anyway, some scenes looked like the twins were giving off yandere vibes towards Xiaoling, but according to Inplic team, they're supposed to be more like being childish, hence the bright color costumes, and Xiaoling was even in a rabbit costume that is somewhat a reference to mascots in amusement parks. It's like she is meant to entertain the kids. Anyway, in the other games that Xiaoling needed to go through, there was one game wherein she needed to figure out which is the real Li Tianzhen. Xiaoling was tricked about it at first, but it later became easy for her to identify Li Tianzhen because of his broken tail. She manages to escape the game, of course, but it was just a fictional world in that universe, a world created by the twins. But in the real world, Tiaoling is actually the nurse that is looking after the twins, and she's being strict about them taking their medicine. So overall, I believe that the main event in Web of Lies is about Tiaoling being attacked by the twins in some way, but she eventually ends up not only beating them, but even winning them. And I would like to believe that the same will happen in Season 3 Part 1. Once Tiaoling's ability awakens, maybe it's going to overwhelm her, like with what happened to her at the end of Season 2. Then Li Tianzhen finds out about it. Maybe he heard about it from Liu Xiao, or he just found out by chance. But it seems that he had mistaken Tiaoling to have stolen his sister's ability. So he's been going through the extremes to take it back from her. Maybe, like in the MV, he would have tricked Tiaoling once. That one time could be referring to the events in Season 2 or could be a new event in Season 3. But nevertheless, Tiaoling wouldn't be tricked twice and she's going to win against him. Probably, like in the MV, she would also pretend to lose, but actually outsmarting him. Li Tianxi had become attached to Tiaoling. They even treat each other as sisters. And I believe it's going to be the same with Li Tianzhen. Well, he might be a bit tsundere about it though, but Tiaoling should be able to win him over too. It will just be a bit challenging because of the misunderstanding, and Li Tianzhen is quite violent. But Tiaoling's pretty strong, and she can even chase people. She will definitely be successful about it since she's among the strongest fighters in the main trio and she is a former member of the track and field team. She's a rabbit after all. So, even if the twins, especially Li Tianzhen, will push her away, she's not going to give up on them. With Li Tianxi's memories, she might be able to find a way to tame that wild kid. She probably just sees him as a naughty child instead of a dangerous threat. She may be the one who can heal his broken heart, like how she had done for his sister. After all, she's the only one who understands the twins the most. The sin of envy might have been associated to both of the twins because they are jealous of other people experiencing the happiness that they don't have. And kindness is literally the remedy for envy, making Tiaoling the cure which the twins had needed all this time. Tiaoling's temper towards Tung Xiaoshi might have made it weird for her to be associated to the virtue of kindness. Even Tung Xiaoshi thinks the same, but her kindness had become very apparent, especially in Season 2. She is the emotionally intelligent one among the main trio. If she has the ability to make the main duo communicate and reconcile, I believe she also has the capability to tame the likes of Li Tianzhen too. But the danger with Li Tianzhen is nothing compared to facing against someone like Vayne. Shiguang's challenge is up next. In the world of Unforgiven, there are two very handsome beings. In this universe, Vayne is known as the Lord of Pride. He's actually portrayed as something close to a god of evil, which is why he has inhuman and divine vibes. His revealing attire will be a reminiscent of mythological divinities. Apparently, this godlike monster has casted divine punishment on mortals, and this resulted to the death of Shiguang's dearest friends. Shiguang's character was shown praying and grieving for his beloved family in this graveyard. Notice the flowers around him? They're Tung Xiaoshi's and Tiaoling's flowers! Anyway, the main trio are portrayed as priests or nuns in this world, like it's their regular job to fight against demons. The multiple belts on Shiguang makes his attire look modern and a bit edgy. By the way, about the siblings, the reason why they had made appearances in Unforgiven was because Sung Xiaoshu asked for it. He, dragging along Xiaoling, came to the set. When they heard about the fight scenes, they were cheering for Lu Kuang, and it makes Lu Kuang blush. Aww. But Vane mentions that his own friends are not going to lose on the cheering competition. And you know, Vane said it as our savior and Felix. It's like he considers the two as part of his family. How precious. Anyway, although whatever Vane did in this world was clearly nothing good, his perspective had been different. Apparently, he thinks that he was just being a responsible God who was diligently listening to the prayers of his believers and are granting their wishes. So he had let his minions play with the humans, and he considers the destruction of humans as some sort of party. Vane was quite saddened that a particular human wasn't able to join the party. So it looks like that's the reason why he was keeping an eye on Lu Kuang. Ooh! Well, with his loved ones gone, Lu Kuang walks on the path of vengeance against a god all alone. He broke into the god's temple, aiming his gun as soon as the god appears, which Vane calls as an impolite greeting. But despite that, Vane claims that he was still being nice for inviting Lu Kuang into his domain to join the after party. It's quite ironic that he called Lu Kuang rude when he was the one who tried to capture Lu Kuang from behind. But he didn't expect for Lu Kuang to be having a hidden power which allowed him to transform into a gorgeous warrior angel. It's amusing that Vane considers Lu Kuang's power as evil, like a true villain who thinks that he has done nothing wrong. Anyway, when Lu Kuang has transformed, Vane was still much bigger than him, but later we see them in a battle, now on the same size, both giants. Lu Kuang had leveled up, but he has also changed weapons, from gun to sword. Maybe the gun cannot grow along with him? So this is now more like an angel versus demon battle. And the angel has tried to thrust the holy sword into the demon, but the demon managed to stop it with his bare hand. Vane's expression changed on that part. It's like he finally sees the angel as a threat. Maybe he's thinking like, you almost killed me just now, sweetie. So overall, I believe the main event in Unforgiven is Lu Kuang's path for vengeance. And in canon, this actually already started in the Bridden arc, but shall continue in Season 3 Part 1. In the Unforgiven MV, despite being the chosen man who has acquired a special power that could silently protect the mortal world, Lu Kuang was still unable to save the ones he cherished the most, like in the main story. The death of Lu Kuang's dear friends in Unforgiven mirrors the canon counterparts. And same in canon, Sung Xiaoshu was also the last one to die, dying in Lu Kuang's arms. Anyway, in Unforgiven, Lu Kuang claims that his hidden power is actually left behind by a former god. If it's a reference of him inheriting Sung Xiaoshu's power in canon, then that implies about him seeing Sung Xiaoshu as a god. OMG! Though, if he meant someone else, then maybe Lu Kuang might have another ability aside from his own and Sung Xiaoshu's. Ooh. Anyway, both in canon and in Unforgiven, Lu Kuang aims to take revenge by eliminating Vane. The painful memories strengthens his resolve. He may not have been successful in the Bridden arc, but if the job is not done yet, he'll just have to resume and finish it. Apparently, Angel Lu Kuang's strategy was to lower Lord Vane's guard, draw out his true form, and land the final blow. That actually happened already in the Bridden arc, making Vane think that the kitty is not much of a threat, then making Vane reveal his true purpose even in front of Sung Xiaoshu. Then, ta-da! Most likely, Lu Kuang will be plotting something similar in Season 3. Notice that he's not that shocked to see Vane on their encounter. He even has a knife prepared. And like in the MV, even if Vane tries to catch him from behind, Shiguang will be able to get away, and he'll even fight back. But instead of a sword, he'll be using a knife. But I can imagine canon Vane holding that knife with his bare hand too. He's a monster, even in canon after all. But I doubt any of them will win. At least not on this scene. Shiguang might just successfully escape, or maybe someone will help him. I'm wishing for either Tsung Xiaoshi or Jay, but oh, I can't entertain the idea of Vane winning here. I'm allergic to the thought of Shiguang being kidnapped again, much less killed. Alright, let's now relate these guys who are both assigned with a sin. Tsung Xiaoshi was bothered by it, thinking that it didn't seem good, and Vane took that as a compliment. Wang Qing had noted that Vane had perfectly portrayed an arrogant god for being so self-centered that he didn't care whether he's harming other people. And Vane also appreciated that as a compliment. To put it simply, pride is defined as considering oneself as ultimately superior. It's even considered as the mother of all vices. I wonder if this implies that Vane is the most evil among the Bridon trio. Well, he's the one who is confirmed to have been killing people, so probably yeah. But prideful people are also known for lacking empathy and aren't even ethical, which I think doesn't completely apply to Vane, since he had shown genuine care and concern about his friends, and even animals. In any case, Vane in canon still does think very highly of himself. We may be able to see more of that side of him in Season 3, since he'll start to become hostile towards the protagonists after what Shiguang did. So exciting! As for Shiguang, he was assigned with the sin of wrath, which is defined as the intense and uncontrolled feeling of anger, hatred, and resentment, which we can totally see on all his interactions with Vane. Even Li Tianxi can see it. It's funny that Shiguang's also like that in the interview and promo pictures. He cannot stand even being physically close to Vane. While Vane thinks that Shiguang was just being too in character. He even wonders why Shiguang is being serious about it. By the way, Shiguang had been making statements that appear to be directed at Vane, like when Shiguang said, "Whether God or human, one must pay for the sins he commits." Oh, Shiguang, you're so obvious, and Vane can sense it, but he's having fun with it. Anyway, I have a theory on Shiguang's morality assignment. I think that, like the other protagonists, he was supposed to be assigned with a virtue too, particularly patience, which is the direct remedy for wrath. After all, he used to be the most patient person ever, especially towards Tsung Xiaoshi. However, when his world turned upside down, his morality turned upside down too. Li Haolin had been hinting about Shiguang having the most changes in Season 3. It's going to start once he finally lets his emotions out, and we already had glimpses of that in the recent trailer. But this is just Stage 3. Stage 4 seems to be more shocking. I had a hard time in taking this music video seriously. Oh my god, what the heck are they doing? Are they fighting or flirting? They say that they can't get closer, but they keep on getting closer and closer and closer. Jay in this universe is apparently a hitman, and he has killed a lot, but is quite selective. According to him, his character only kills those whom he thinks deserves punishment. So he's sort of a vigilante, huh? Still somewhat aligned to his law enforcer self in the main story. While Liu Xiao here works as a forensic pathologist, or rather, that's just a side job or a hobby to him because he's only looking into the dead bodies as a consultant. Like in canon, he is rich enough to be an owner of an art museum in this universe. Wow, Anyway, he had been looking into Jay's victims and eventually became interested on the serial killer. That's why Liu Xiao made himself Jay's next target, so that he can meet him, and Jay took the bait. They met in a bar and Liu Xiao offered him a drink, but Jay returned that greeting with a gun. But afterwards, Jay still took the drink but splashed it on Liu Xiao, which is why Liu Xiao's face here seemed wet. Jay was pulling Liu Xiao's hair over here too, and then he pinned him down. One hand at Liu Xiao's, then the other hand is pointing the gun at Liu Xiao's chest. And he gets even closer. Though behind the scenes, Jay actually felt bad about it. So as an apology, Jay had offered Liu Xiao a drink. Jay the bartender was already preparing that special drink, but instead of wine, Liu Xiao chose milk tea. Anyway, about the fantasy parts in this MV, they are like symbolisms which support the narrative in their reality. Jay's costume is actually inspired by the goddess of justice, which is why his statue is even holding scales. But the cross design on him seemed to resemble a sword, but it also looks like a cross, so it's similar to what Crusaders wear. Since Jay is also passionate about punishing evil, I call him as Crusader Jay. As for Liu Xiao's statue, it was holding a ram's head. It reminds me of the rams in his character video. The ram's symbolisms in the Bible include sacrifice. So perhaps the rams in Liu Xiao's character video are his previous victims, and the new sacrifice he's holding in the video is Jay? Oh, that gave me goosebumps. Anyway, Liu Xiao's other form isn't exactly a demon, but he's so creepy like a succubus, so I'm calling him as one. So overall, it seems that these two predators are hunting each other down, and it's going to be the same in Season 3, Part 1. Jay works as a secret agent for the Britain police, so he's definitely someone who's after the bad guys like in his MV version. Based on the trailers, his target was revealed to be Vane, but I think his real target, or final target at least, is actually Liu Xiao. It's more likely because Jay was investigating not only Bahati, but also Liu Xiao's cult. The MV seems to have revealed the name of Liu Xiao's symbol. It's here, so it's called the Saros. I hope Season 3 will explain about this. Anyway, the hunter and prey interaction in the MV is similar to the moth to a flame metaphor. Moths are drawn to the bright flame, leading them to their demise. The preys in the MV are aware of the danger, but they can't help but get pulled towards their hunter. But what's interesting is that the hunter and prey relationship between these two isn't one-sided, since they are both hunter and prey towards each other. They know it's dangerous to get close to one another, yet they cannot resist the temptation. It's like they're in a toxic relationship, but both of them are toxic. Oh my god, that's so thrilling, but it's also very disturbing. In the MV, the more obvious interpretation is that Jay the assassin sees Liu Xiao the target as prey, but Liu Xiao was actually just pretending to be prey and has lured Jay to aim for him. Liu Xiao may have manipulated Jay to fall into his trap. And maybe that Black Knight in Liu Xiao's character video was Jay all along. But Jay isn't easily tricked, and he is aware that Liu Xiao was just pretending. After all, even when Liu Xiao claims to be an ordinary civilian, like how he claimed to be an ordinary student in the Britain arc, Jay wasn't buying such a lie. But Jay willingly becomes Liu Xiao's prey anyway, because he's actually doing the same. OMG, they take turns in dominating each other. And I think it may become similar in Season 3. So while Jay is investigating Liu Xiao would not exactly be hiding from him as he keeps on exposing his suspicious tattoo. Though they are in opposite sides, they're actually genuinely interested in each other. I mean, Genius minds fascinate one another after all, so they might have a relationship that is similar to that of Holmes and Moriarty from almost any Sherlock Holmes adaptation. Oh, they might even have something like the Light and L relationship from Death Note. What? Are you thinking that they are sexually attracted? Oh my. But who knows? You might be right. Lust and chastity are assigned to Liu Xiao and Jay respectively. They're the direct opposites of one another. The sin of lust is usually defined as the excessive self-serving desire of sexual pleasure, while the virtue of chastity will be the abstinence or at least a restraint from sexual desires. It's even considered as a sub-virtue of temperance. I think the main reason behind the abundance of fruity scenes are mainly because of lust and chastity usually being associated to sexual themes. And for the sake of fan service, there's so much touching between them. But believe it or not, lust and chastity can also refer to non-sexual desires. There are many other things that people can desire about aside from you know what. So, lust tempts his prey to desire. Be interested in him. While chastity, the law enforcer, pretends to go along, but actually had a plan in mind. But chastity might not be able to resist the temptation and falls into the traps prepared by lust. Wait, that could still sound wrong. Anyway, I think their sin and virtue assignments aren't fixed, like there are two sides on both of them. So Liu Xiao is the sin that pretends to be pure and innocent, while Jay acts like a psycho but is deeply serious about honoring justice. Oh, they're pretty complicated. By the way, I think it's interesting that we keep on seeing Jay's eyes change color while around Liu Xiao. Maybe he has some power that he can use to shield himself from Liu Xiao's manipulations or something like that. Well, whatever it is, I really like it that these two can act like they're getting along as if they are good friends, but can also nonchalantly be violent towards each other, both verbally and physically. Oh, their relationship seems to be the most intriguing in linkclick so far. The harmony and beats in Escape Velocity give you the strength to break the shackles of destiny, while the Web of Lies sound like the eerie cries of broken children who are subconsciously seeking salvation from the goddess of hope. But Unforgiven screams out all the rage that had been bottled up deep inside. Then Moth to a Flame is like a song that is all about making love to danger. Anyway, I think the different types of music in the Dream Out Music Project foreshadow the crazy ride we're going to be in once we start watching linkclick Season 3 Part 1. Of course, some of the theories that I had shared earlier may be wrong, but it's fun to speculate about what may happen, right? I'm also certain that I've missed something. So, if you have other observations or theories or reactions about the music project, feel free to share about them. Let's have some fun before the trauma. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Take care! You know, the original version of this video was too lengthy. I spent too much time going crazy about the chaotic duo and wondering why the toxic duo were burning up all night.